When examining the threats to today's information technology, it can seem overwhelming. From simple script kiddies using off-the-shelf code to nation-state adversary tools, it's critical to be prepared. For example, an internal employee can download a single instance of ransomware and can have a significant impact on an organization. More complex attacks, such as a network exploitation attempt or targeted data breach, increases the chaos that a security incident causes. Technical personnel will have their hands full attempting to determine the systems that have been impacted and how they are being manipulated. They will also have to contend with addressing the possible loss of data through the compromised systems. Adding to these chaotic situations are senior managers haranguing them for updates and an answer to the all-important question: how did this happen and how bad is it? Having the ability to properly respond to security incidents in an orderly and efficient manner allows organization to both limit the damage and potential limit the damage of potential cyber attack, but also recover from the associated damage that is caused. To facilitate this orderly response, organizations of all sizes have looked at adding an incident response capability to their existing policies, procedures, and processes. In order to build this capability with the organization, several key components must be addressed. First, organizations need to have a working knowledge of the incident response process. So this process outlines the general flow of an incident and general actions that are taken at each stage. Second, organizations need to have access to personnel who form the nucleus of any incident response capability. Once a team is organized, a formalized plan and associated processes needs to be created. This written plan and processes form the orderly structure that an organization can follow during an incident. Finally, with this framework in place, the plan must be continually evaluated, tested, and improved as new threats emerge. Utilizing this framework will position organizations to be prepared for unfortunate reality that many organizations have already faced, an incident that compromises their security. The incident response process. There is a general path that cybersecurity incidents follow during their lifetime. If the organization has a major incident response capability, they will have taken measures to ensure that they are prepared to address an incident at each stage of the process. Each incident starts with the first time the organization becomes aware of an event or series of events to indicative of malicious activity. So this detection of this incident can come in the form of security control, alert, or external party informing the organization of a potential security issue. Once organization alerted, the organization moves through analyzing the incident through containment measures to bring the information system back to normal operations. The incident response process can be broken down into 6 distinct phases, each with a set of actions the organization can take to address the incident. The first is actually not the first, so preparation, detection, the event management, analysis, containment, eradication and recovery, post-incident activity. Detection of a potential incident is a complex endeavor. Depending on the size of the organization, they may have over 100 million separate events per day. So these events can be records of legitimate actions taken during the normal course of business or be indicators of potential malicious activity. Couple this maintenance of event that with other security controls constantly alerting to activity, and you have a situation where analysts are inundated with the data and must subsequently sift out the valuable pieces of signal from the vastness of network noise. And then we have preparation phase. So without good preparation, any subsequent incident response is going to be disorganized and has the potential to make the incident worse. One of the critical components of preparation is the creation of an incident response plan. Once a plan is in place with the necessary staffing, ensure that personnel detailed with the incident response duties are properly trained. So this includes processes, procedures, and any additional tools necessary for the investigation of an incident. In addition to your preparation plan, tools such forensics hardware and software tools should be acquired and incorporated into the overall process, and you need to have the good digital forensics investigators. So finally, regular exercise should be conducted to ensure that the organization is trained and familiar with the processes. And the next phase is security incident and event management. So these tools actually lose their effectiveness if they are not properly maintained with regular updates of rule sets that identify what events qualify as a potential risk and incident. So the detection phase is the part of the incident response process where the organization first becomes aware of a set of events that possibly indicates malicious activity. So this event or events that have been detected and are indicative of malicious behavior are then classified as an incident. For example, a security analyst may receive an alert that a specific administrator account was in use during the time where the administrator was on vacation. So detection may also come from external sources. So an internet service provider or law enforcement agency may detect malicious activity originating in an organization's network and contact them and advise them of situation. In other instances, a user may be the first to indicate the potential security incident. So this may be as simple as employee contacting to help desk and informing a help desk technician that they received an Excel spreadsheet from an unknown source and opened it. They are not complaining that their files on the local system are being encrypted. So in each case, an organization will have to escalate each of these events to the level of an incident, so which we will cover a little later in our later lectures in our course, and begin the reactive process. So these events of the level of an incident, and begin the reactive process to investigate the problem and incident. So and next phase we have analysis. So once accident has been detected and propertized, from the organizations, the people from the organization are a trusted third party, digital forensics investigator or cybersecurity team will begin the analysis phase. So in phase, personnel begin the task of collecting digital evidence from systems or physical evidence if physically involved, from systems such as the log files, the running memory, the network connections, the running software processes, and the employees was in the incident time. So depending on the type of accident, this collection can take as little as few hours to several weeks or days actually. So once the evidence is collected, it then needs to be examined. So there are a variety of tools to conduct this analysis, so many of which are explored in this course. With these tools, analysts are attempting to ascertain what happened, what it affected, whether any other systems were involved, and whether any confidential data was removed. So the ultimate goal of the analysis is to determine the root cause of the incident and reconstruct the actions of the threat actor from initial compromise to detection. And we have containment phase here. So once there is a solid understanding of what the accident is and what systems are involved, Organizations can then move into the containment phase. So in this phase, organizations take measures to limit the ability for threat actors to continue compromising other network resources and communicating with command line interface and controlling packet structures or exfiltrating confidential data. Containment strategies can range from locking down all the system or IP addresses on a firewall to simply removing the network cable from the back of an infected machine. So you can contain the very artificial ways. So each type of incident involves its own containment strategy, of course. But having several options allows personnel to stop the bleeding at the source if they are able to detect the security incidents before or during the time when threat actors are pilfering data. And then we have another phase, which is the eradication and the recovery phase. During the eradication phase, actually recovering pace, the organizations deletes and removes the threat actors from the impacted system. In the case of a malware infection, the organizations may run an anti-malware solution. So other times, infected machines must be wiped and reimaged. Other activities include removing or changing compromised user accounts as well. So if an organization has identified a vulnerability that was hacked or exploited, the patches and security updates are applied or software updates are made. So recovery activities are very closely aligned with tools that may be found in an organization's business continuity or disaster recovery plans. So in this recovery phase, organizations reinstall fresh operating systems or applications. They will also restore data on local systems from backups. As a diligent step, organizations will also audit their existing user and administrator accounts to ensure that there are no accounts that have been enabled by threat actors. Finally, a comprehensive vulnerability scan is conducted so that the organization is confident and sure about that any exploitable vulnerabilities have been removed. And we have the last phase of our incident response here is the post-incident activity. At the conclusion of the incident process is a complete review of the incident with all the principles. Post-incident activity includes a complete review of all the actions taken during the incident, what worked, and more importantly, what did not work, and what are important topics for discussion. So these reviews are important because they may highlight specific tasks and actions that had either a positive or a negative impact on the outcome of the incident response. It's during this phase of the process that a written report is completed. So documenting the actions taken during the incident is critical to capture both what occurred and whether the incident will ever see the inside organization. So finally, the organizational personnel should update their own incident response process with any new information developed during the post-incident debrief and reporting. So this in comparison of lessons learned is important as it makes future responses to incidents more effective. So there is a misconception that is often held by people unfamiliar with the realm of incident response. The misconception is that incident response is merely a digital forensics UGM. As a result, they will often conflate the two terms. While digital forensics is a critical component of incident response, there is more to addressing an incident than examining hard drives. So it's best to think of forensics as a supporting function of the overall incident response process. So digital forensics serves as the mechanism for understanding the technical aspects of the incident, so potential identifying the root UGM and discovering unidentified access or other malicious activity. For example, some incidents such as denial of service, those attacks will require little to no forensics works. On the other hand, a network intrusion involving the compromise of an internal server and traffic leaving the network will require extensive examination of logs, traffic analysis, and examination of the memory. Responding to data breach, ransomware attack, or the other security incidents should not never be an ad hoc process. So unidentified processes or procedures will leave an organization unable to both identify the extent of the incident and be able to stop the and unable to bleeding on sufficient time to limit damage. So having a solid understanding of an incident response process is just the first step to building this capability within an organization. So what organizations need is a framework that puts the processes to work utilizing the organization's available resources. So the incident response framework describes the components of a functional incident response capability within an organization. So this framework is made up of elements such as personnel, policies, and procedures. It's through these elements that an organization builds its capability to respond to incidents.